Hi, I'm Christine Self with Parent and Family Relations. Campus safety is a topic the families of our students are very interested in, and we get asked about campus safety a lot. When a crime is reported on or near campus, it is naturally concerning to the campus community. So we thought it would be helpful to share information about official crime reporting, how to report crimes, and how students can receive support. In this video, we'll hear from two key resources on campus, Title IX and Clery compliance. Dr. Simone, do you want to get us started?
Thanks, Dr. Self. Hi, parents and families. I am really excited to have a chance to talk to you today about something that I know is kind of tricky and it's hard to think about. When we send our students to campus, we want to know that they're safe. And if something were to happen to them, we want to know how they can go about getting help, who might be the team that is supporting them behind the scenes. And that's what we wanted to do today, have you see some of the faces that may be working with your student. That way you would know who to call, who to ask if you have further questions. We're going to go over some of this information today. And if it doesn't answer the questions that you have, please feel free to stop by our table when you're visiting at orientation or for family weekend. Come by our office, send us an email, give us a call. We'd love a chance to answer your questions and make sure you feel comfortable with campus safety. So let me tell you a little bit about what Title IX is. We've included the text up here on your screen, but Title IX is basically the rule that says your students, our faculty, our staff, campus visitors, anyone that's on our campus, they should be able to be here, be on campus, participate in education, programs, sporting events, and community activities without experiencing discrimination based on their sex, their gender, their sexual orientation, or their gender identity. Title IX was really instrumental in ensuring students of all sexes and genders could be admitted to different colleges, to different fields of study, to have academic and athletic opportunities. And so it really aligns with our core values here at Texas Tech that everyone belongs, everyone should be able to pursue their field of study and their interest in a way that's safe for them on our campus. So what do we do in our office? If an incident has happened, we're going to go over in a little bit what some of those incidents are that get students connected to our office. But the most important thing we do is we provide support to our students. Students drive our process and they decide what we do and how we do it. So think about maybe a call you get from your student, something has happened, they're in an unsafe relationship, they're worried about something that has happened to their roommate, right? We want them to feel comfortable coming to our office and not being afraid of what might happen next. The very first thing that happens, we reach out to your student, we work with them. We want to know, what is it you need today to feel safe? What questions do you have? What areas of campus can we connect you with? We have a large campus, which is great because it means we have a lot of good partners, a lot of resources available right here on campus, but it can be really overwhelming if something has happened. So in our office, we have two excellent case managers whose only job it is to meet with your student and make sure they know where they can go on campus, the help that they can get, and the options that are available to them. So in Title IX speak, we call that supportive measures. Students are able to access those supportive measures regardless of what has happened, when it happened. Was it when they were on spring break? Was it on campus yesterday? Was it over the weekend? Was it between semesters? We want to work with them to provide them the support they need to be successful academically and feel comfortable on our campus. Your student can access those supportive measures whether or not they provide a statement to our office, want to pursue any type of formal outcome. We want to make sure that they feel supported and safe at the university. Should your student want to move forward in a more formal process, we have that option as well through our student code of conduct. We can investigate reports, we can investigate complaints, we can pursue either a formal or an informal outcome that, again, that process is decided solely by the student. What the right answer is for student A might not be the right thing for student B. And our job is to make sure your student knows all of their resources, their rights, anything available to them, and then support them through their decisions. Let me tell you a bit about what actually is Title IX in case this is your first or second time hearing about this. Maybe you have some vague understanding, but you'd like to know a little bit more. All of the things listed here on your screen are also included in our student code of conduct. These would all be considered violations of our student code of conduct, and they're violations that fall under Title IX. So our office works with things like sexual harassment, sexual assault, whether it's attempted, completed. It doesn't matter if it's touching, groping, a full sexual assault with penetration. All of those things are covered in our policy. Unsafe relationships, dating and domestic violence. So whether students are married or single, parents, somebody they've just recently gotten into a relationship with, all of those things are covered under our dating and domestic violence policies. We also deal with stalking. On our campus, primarily, we see students experiencing electronic stalking, unwanted messages, students creating new accounts to follow them, to reach out to them on social media, to comment on their posts. All of those are covered. Physical, electronic, any type of stalking behavior would fall into this policy. We also assist with and have policies prohibiting sexual exploitation and public indecency. One of the most concerning trends I think we're seeing nationwide before our students even get to college is under sexual exploitation. We're seeing several students of all ages, younger and younger, that are essentially being catfished online, having a request sent for compromising photos or videos. And then once those materials are sent, the person on the other end asks for money, demands certain concessions or acts, or says they'll release the photos online or send them to the person's parents. So all of these topics that are listed here on the screen, any of these that you feel comfortable discussing with your student, helping them to know where they can find these definitions in our policy, helping them to know who can assist should they experience one of these, should a roommate experience any of these, we can and will assist with any of these problems through our Title IX office. So we also can help cover students who are pregnant or parenting. These are also sex and gender-based conditions that are covered through federal regulations and our state laws. One of the most common things is students miss class or have appointments, need extra time on assignments because of a pregnancy. This rule for pregnancy covers all facets of pregnancy. So finding out you're pregnant, if you've suffered a miscarriage, missing school because of childbirth, anything that falls under that umbrella, it is covered by Title IX. It is not required that a student, a faculty, or staff member ever work with our office. They don't have to disclose a pregnancy, but we're a resource should someone need something. So in some of our buildings, we still have those really old-fashioned desks where the desk and the chair are connected together. And for some of our students, at some point, you literally can't come to class because there's not a place to sit. These accommodations allow us to address very practical things, such as getting a desk in the room that a student can use. We can also work with things like parking accommodations or nursing accommodations, making sure people have a place to pump or to breastfeed, because it is important that our students be able to pursue their education and not have to pause unless they choose to because of a pregnancy or childbirth. So what happens when a report is filed? I mentioned this briefly at the beginning, but students decide what happened in our process. They let us know what they are comfortable with, where they would like to go from here, and they really drive the bus. Very rarely, if there is an ongoing concern or a threat to the larger campus, our office will have a discussion with that student about us moving forward on their behalf. It's incredibly rare. Most times, over 95% of times, students will get to decide from this flow chart what we do next. So what we always do when we receive a report, one of our case management team reaches out to the student, sends them an email, gives them some basic information about our office, our process, the resources that are available. Students can respond. They can ignore us. They can politely tell us they're not interested. They cannot politely tell us they're interested. It's entirely up to them. Or a student may elect to come in and meet with someone on our case management team. We have tried to make that as simple as possible so students can meet with us by phone, by Zoom, in person, whatever is most comfortable to them. The student is also welcome to bring an advisor with them. So somebody that's a trusted friend or a support person, because the amount of information is really overwhelming. And so having somebody there with you that can help make sure your questions are asked and answered, or that you get the information so that you can think through it later, we have found to be really helpful. This is not required. A student can absolutely attend this meeting alone, but should they wish to bring someone, we always encourage them to do so. Now, this is a really important note for parents. Sometimes students don't want you to be their support person and don't want you to be their advisor. They want you to be their parent. And I'm a parent, so I know that can be really hard to think about. But sometimes a student is worried about, what if I can't say this in front of my mom or dad? What if I don't want to talk about all these details with my parent in the room? So if your student makes that decision, please know we will provide them information that they can share with you. We will make sure they have their questions answered so that they can help walk you through that process. If you have general questions about the process, we can always talk you through that as well. But the student does decide who is in those meetings, what is shared, and who it is not shared with. And so if you ever call and we tell you we can't answer questions, that's typically why. And it's really because we want to respect your students' privacy. We need them to know that they can trust us so that they can allow us to help them. Students can meet with our staff member to talk about those supportive measures that we discussed. They can also talk about options for reporting or not reporting. And please know this, students can change their mind at any time. Maybe something has just happened. It's very fresh. I'm not sure what I need to do next. I'm not sure how I'd like to move forward. But I know I've missed class the last 2 days. So I go in, I meet with the case manager. At this point in time, I only want supportive measures. I just need to get back into the classroom. I need to make up a test. So maybe I only follow for supportive measures at that time. Maybe 2 weeks from now, I'm in a different place and I think, I'd really like to make a report. I would like that other person to be held accountable. That's okay. A student can decide that 2 weeks later, 2 months later, they can come back in and say, I'd like to make a statement. I'd like to move forward. I'd like to participate in what we call the formal grievance process. Sometimes students come in the first day and say, yes, I'd like to file a formal complaint, do this whole grievance process. I want to do a hearing and I want there to be an outcome. And then they get into that process and it's heavy and it can be overwhelming. And maybe I've decided this is not the right thing for me. Students can change their mind about that as well. This process is entirely based on what is right for them, and your student is the expert on what's right for them at the time. So we will reach out, we will offer support, and then we will meet and match them for how they'd like to move forward. If you have questions about anything specific on this slide, all of this information is detailed for you in our student code of conduct, as well as the Title IX website. I'd really encourage you to take a look at that if you have any questions. You can always reach out to our office. You can get more information online, but we'd love to walk you through that and make sure you understand so that you too can help answer questions for your student. Okay, so how can someone report to our office? We've really tried to make it so the students can report however is most convenient for them. The most typical way we get reports in our office, a student has gone to their community advisor in housing, or they've gone to a professor, maybe they've gone to a coach, but they go to someone that they trust on campus. Most of your students don't know who Kim is, and they may not even know Claire, who you're going to meet in a minute, but they know somebody on campus that they feel safe talking to. We want them to be able to talk to any Texas Tech employee. We don't want them to have to guess the right person or the right office to report to. So we have a policy at the university that students can tell any staff member, any faculty member, and then that person will get your student connected with our office. Students can also report directly to us. They can come in person, they can give us a call. We have an online form that they can fill out on our website. Students can mail reports to our office. I have never had a single student hard copy mail a complaint, but they absolutely can. But most commonly, we will actually see students reach out to a trusted faculty or staff or a friend, and then that friend might make a report. So another really important discussion you could have with your student is, would they know what to do if a friend came to them? Would they know how to make a report? This information is all on our website, and I'm going to give you a cheat sheet QR code at the end of this presentation. All of this information is there as well. We also have places on campus that students can report confidentially if they don't want to make an official report to the university. We have several counseling options, like our student counseling center, the family therapy clinic, the psychology clinic. Students can go to student health. Employees can utilize our EAP services. Those will all be confidential. We have the option to report to law enforcement. Students decide whether or not to report to the police. If it's on campus, we work with our Texas Tech Police Department. If it's in the community, we work with the Lubbock Police Department. Okay, here's that little cheat sheet QR code that I was telling you about. If you will scan this and save it in your phone and encourage your student to do the same, what this does is it creates a contact card right there on their phone, 24 hours a day. This information is accessible. The information that's in this contact card is what's covered by Title IX, how do I file a report, what kind of supportive measures are available to me, who can I call, the Title IX phone number is in here, our Dean of Students office, our prevention office, the Texas Tech Police, our crisis hotline, other campus professionals that they may have questions about. That information is stored there. It's an excellent resource available to them 24 hours a day, no engagement with other people they don't know required. But what we have found is this is a really easy way for students to get some of that information that maybe they're afraid to ask. So I would encourage you to save that, share it with your student, have them reach out to us at any point in time with questions. As parents, we don't want to think about our students ever needing this information. We understand how difficult that is, but we do want them to know, should they experience any of these incidents, should they have a friend who does, there is a group of trusted professionals on campus who care very deeply about your students, their well-being, getting them connected to resources, and they don't have to do any of this alone. I think that's the most important message that we can send to you. You entrust us with your students, and we are here to support them. We want to make sure they have their questions answered, that these resources are available to them. And so we would love to chat with you and your students, make sure everyone has what they need so that they can feel safe on campus. Okay, I am actually going to now turn it over to our Clery compliance officer, Claire, to talk to you a little bit about the Clery Act and what that means for your student.
Hello. So we typically pair the Clery Act and Clery compliance with Title IX because you're sitting here thinking about everything Dr. Simona has said about services we have and resources for the students. And you're probably wondering, how do we know what is going on campus if all of this is confidential and if you do or do not know if it's happened to your student? So that's where the Clery Act comes into play. The history of the Clery Act is that Jean Clery was murdered in 1986 in her residence hall room. She was brutally beaten, raped, and murdered. And her parents felt as though it could have been prevented if the university had disclosed that there was a pattern of behavior from the person who did this to her. So the whole basis of the Clery Act is making sure that people understand when something is going on, when there's a safety concern, and just making sure that everybody feels like they're educated enough to make decisions so that they can protect themselves so that something like this does not happen again to somebody. And so the purpose, like I said, is to provide timely, accurate, and complete information so people can make informed decisions to keep themselves safe. We make sure that everything goes, you're not going to hear an alert that's a month after the event. We're going to make sure that if there's an ongoing issue that we need to, that people feel like they could make a better decision, just like with Jean Clery. If a better decision can be made, then it would save and protect people on campus. So the Clery specific geography, all of this summed up to say, it does not really matter who it is. If it happens on our campus and it's an ongoing issue, you will know about it. Safety information will be sent out. So it doesn't matter if a visitor comes to campus and something happens to them. If it's an ongoing safety issue, an alert will be sent out so people understand what they need to do to stay safe. A lot of the crimes, and this is why we go hand in hand with Title IX, are very similar to what they do and they handle. So that's why we like to work hand in hand with this. We want to make sure that these big offenses are the ones that people are aware about if something could happen if they had the same situation happen to them. We also list all crimes that are Clery crimes in our crime log. If you go to the Title IX page, will route you to it, but if you just type in Clery as well on the tech site, it'll take you to the PD crime log, which will post anything within the last 60 days that Tech PD has had to handle. But then the CSA crime log is the one that we're specifically talking about that deals with all the Clery crimes. So they need to be listed within 2 business days of being reported, and then you'll be able to see up to 60 days on there as well. If you do want to see farther back than that, you can stop on campus and ask our police department, but those are going to be the most recent ones. Also, every October, we produce an annual security report. We actually also do a fire safety report of all the fire instances that have happened on campus in the last calendar year. It is done by October 1st, and it is about 125 pages of resources on campus, the stats for the different incidences that are Clery reportable, and just a bunch of information that's actually very helpful and very good to have in one place. So if you ever need to look for something, see what programs there are for prevention, see what resources there are on campus, this is a really good place to look. And then we actually submit it to the Department of Education every year as well. But the chart in the top corner is an example of what it would look like. We do 3 years of stats so you can compare the just what's going on, the patterns, if our stats are going up or down for every single one of the crimes that we've already discussed. And if there is an ongoing issue that we think represents a serious or continuing threat to our students, faculty, staff, we will discuss sending a timely warning notification out. So this is not an emergency notification that PD would send out where you need to evacuate campus. It is simply an informational email that goes out saying, here's what's going on. Here's how you can protect yourself. Not all crimes will generate a timely warning. We really do discuss if it's worth a while, if it's something that can actually benefit students by sending it out, because we don't want to scare anyone if it's irrelevant. And some crimes may not even generate the timely warning. For example, if there's dating violence, we more than likely will not send one because that's a very specific example. If a boyfriend and girlfriend had some sort of violent episode, they're not going to then turn around and just attack a stranger. But if, for example, there's an incident where we've seen 4 people get beat up on 19th Street at night, we will send something out saying, here's an idea. Here are some things you can think about if you have to be on 19th Street at night. Here's a pattern we're seeing. Please help protect yourself. Please call us if you need anything. Please ask for friends to walk with you. Don't go alone. And just a lot of different things to make people think more about the conditions of what they are going to be putting themselves in. And here is my information. And then again, Dr. Simone, if you need anything from her, she can help you out as well. But we really just want to make sure that you guys know that we are here to help your student and protect them and provide any information that they need to stay safe while they're on campus.
So Claire, I just want to jump in because this has been really heavy. And I know when I think about sending my own kids to college, it's really overwhelming to have this discussion, to think about things that may happen with our students when they are away from us. So just to give a reminder, to give a little bit of reassurance and to put all of this in context, we have 40,000 students on our campus. We have about 5,000 staff members. And so Texas Tech is the size of a not so small city. And so when we are talking about the crime numbers and crime reporting, it is understandably distressing to think about one incident of burglary or one car break-in or one bike that is stolen from a bike rack. And we understand that, right? That's why we want to make sure that you have this information. We want to be transparent with you about what our campus looks like, but we also want to just remind what that looks like in a city the size of 40,000 people. Texas Tech is exceptionally safe. We have an amazing, fully sworn police department. They are constantly patrolling. They are dedicated specifically to our university community with assistance from Lubbock Police and local sheriff and other resources. We do have someone in Claire's position, a full-time dedicated campus safety professional who is looking at this information, tracking this information, providing these statistics to you, to families, to students in real time. And so sometimes I think when we look at it, it can be really overwhelming. And part of that is because the Clery Act and Title IX and these other measures, the entire point is to over-inform you about the campus. And so at any point in time, if you're looking at this and getting a little nervous, I think that's really normal. But I think it's also because we're not used to the places where we live being this transparent. Our cities, our towns, our states don't keep a running list of all of the crime that's been reported or what's happened with them, where these incidents have gone. And so it's really part of higher education's commitment to parent and families, giving you as much information as humanly possible so that you can have really good safety discussions with your students so that you know the right questions to ask. Really in helping in that prevention piece. And so if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out. Claire's and my information is up here on this slide. We want to help you to feel that your student is safe here on campus. And these are just some of the ways we go about that. I know there will be more opportunities to hear from our police department and some of our other campus partners. But when we tell you that your student safety on campus is a priority, we also want to show you what that looks like. So don't hesitate to reach out. If you have further questions after this, if you have concerns, we're happy to walk you through any of that information.
All right, well, thank you very much, Dr. Simone and Claire. If you have any questions about the information shared in this video, feel free to contact us using the links in the video description. And thanks again for watching our video.